Good afternoon to all the dignitaries and the participants. I welcome you all in the valedictory session of today's 36th National Conference of ITLIS being held virtually, which has in fact had international participation as well. May I now request Professor H.P.S. Kalra to present the report of the conference, please. Professor Kalra.
Yes. Good afternoon. Honorable Dr. J.P. Singh Jurev, Director, Internet Center, Professor V.R. Sinha, Dean, Research, Punjab University, Professor Jagtar Singh, Director, Collaboration and Partnerships, ITLIS, Professor Madan, President, ITLIS, Professor Preeti Mahajan, and other dignitaries and participants. I'll be sharing a brief report of the conference, 2 days conference we had on library and information science education, research and training in COVID-19 era, impact, challenges and opportunities. The inaugural session of this conference was held yesterday, 17th December, and the inaugural session started with Dr. Preeti Mahajan, Organizing Secretary and Chairperson, Department of Library and Information Science, Punjab University, Chandigarh. She welcomed the guests and participants and introduced about the Department of Library and Information Science, Punjab University. Dr. I.V. Malhan, President of ITLIS, gave a comprehensive overview of the genesis of the association as well as its activities. Professor Jagtar Singh, Director, Collaborations and Partnerships, ITLIS, set the context of the conference theme and highlighted various paradigm shifts. He also mentioned about various national and international collaborations of ITLIS. Dr. Bhaskar Mukherjee, Professor, Department of Library and Information Science, Banaras Hindu University, was the keynote speaker of the conference. He discussed the impact of COVID-19 and the challenges and opportunities of online mode of teaching and learning in his comprehensive presentation. The guest of honor at inaugural session was Dr. D.V. Singh, former University Librarian of Delhi University. He highlighted upon the role of libraries and the teachers in the new learning environment, how teachers can play a role in this environment. Dr. B.K. Kuthiala, Chairperson, Haryana State Higher Education Council, in his presidential address highlighted how libraries are providing resources and services in this pandemic and how they need to focus more on information and knowledge management, while being wary of the fake news and disinformation. He emphasized the need for validity of information in the age of fake news and misinformation. Dr. H.P.S. Kalra, General Secretary, ITLIS, proposed a vote of thanks. 100 participants joined the inaugural session. A few others wanted to join, but due to limit of 100 participants at the Google Meet platform, some could not join the inaugural session. In the technical sessions, there were 22 presentations in 6 technical sessions, out of which 21 were from India and one presentation was made by authors from Egypt and Oman. The presentations from India were from different parts of the country, representing Chandigarh, Punjab, Haryana, Himachal Pradesh, West Bengal, Uttar Pradesh, Kerala, Tamil Nadu, and Gujarat. 6 technical sessions were chaired by Professor I.V. Malhan, President, ITLIS, Professor C.K. Ramaiya, Professor, Department of Library and Information Science, Pondicherry University, Professor P.M. Nashad Ali, Department of Library and Information Science, Aligarh Muslim University, Professor Rupak Chakravarti, Department of Library and Information Science, Punjab University, and Professor H.P.S. Kalra, Department of Library and Information Science, Punjabi University, Patiala. The topics of presentations were diverse. These included value-based education and character education, massive online open courses and the impact of COVID on library services and LIS education, full online experience in teaching and learning, open educational resources, role of LIS departments in transition phase, teaching and evaluation of practice papers in online mode, case studies of teaching and learning experiences in COVID-19 at Central University of Haryana and at University of Kerala, redesign redesigning LIS curriculum, limitations of LIS education through online mode, resource-based skill-centered LIS education, media and information literacy, digital divide and digital determinism, challenges and opportunities to education and LIS education in particular in COVID and post-COVID scenario, skills and competencies in COVID-19 scenario, new education policy 2020, quality control in LIS education, academic stress and coping strategies among students, e-learning in LIS education, legal information literacy, usefulness of webinars and comparison with the classroom teaching, library services of Punjab University Library and faculty satisfaction, sustaining library services in transition phase. These technical sessions were interactive with participants asking questions to speakers and speakers gave replies to the participant asking questions. Presentations and suggestions received from participants are being organized to form resolutions of the conference for which a committee of senior professors is being constituted. The resolutions would be sent to the UGC and the Ministry of Education, Government of India. Thank you. Over to Neha or Professor Preeti Mahajan.
Yes. Now we will be having feedbacks from the participants. Does anyone want to tell anything about how there was experience about this?
Yes. Okay. You can hear
Yes,
me? Yeah. I am Dr. S.K. Senapati.
First of all, introduce you, give your affiliation and name.
Oh, yes, sir, please. I am Dr. S.K. Senapati, Principal Technical Officer and Head Knowledge Resource Center of Central Building Research Institute, Roorkee. It is one of the CSR institutions in India. Good afternoon to all dignitaries and teachers who are attending the closing ceremony as well as engaged in 2 days deliberations. Indeed, this webinar was a Mahakumbh of gurus of library and information science and other academicians. We learned a lot of new things from them through their deliberations and experiences shared on the different aspects of teaching, training, and learning through online process in the era of COVID pandemics. The discourses of Professor Jagtar Singh, of course my guru, and others like Professor Kuthiala, Professor Malhan, Professor Kalda, Professor Bhaskar Mukherjee of BHU, Professor Rupak Chakravarti, Dr. D.V. Singh were very educative. Yes, I must thanks to Professor Madam Preeti Mahajan ji and my friend Dr. Khushpreet for giving me chance to join this webinar and express my views on the grand success event. Lastly, my best wishes to all for a happy and healthy new year ahead. We will meet again. Pranam. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you for the feedback. Anyone else would like to add something?
Yeah, good afternoon to all. This is Tarvinder Singh Handa from IIT Ropar.
Thank you, sir.
So, respected Professor Jagtar Singh, Director ITLIS, Professor Inderbir Malan, President of the ITLIS, Professor Preeti Mahajan, Head of the Department, Punjab University, Professor HPS Kalda, Department of Library Science, Punjab University, Patiala, my friend Dr. Khushpreet Singh Brad, other faculty members, and dear library professionals. A very good afternoon to you all. So in this 36th conference or ITLIS on the theme of LIS education, research and training in COVID-19 era, so we have listened to various scholars and teachers of LIS who gave us a very precise and deep understanding of the difficulties and challenges faced by the library science faculty as well as the LIS students during the ongoing period of COVID-19 pandemic. So the various speakers nicely elaborated how the LIS faculty across the country successfully adapted to the changing scenario of teaching and learning through the use of computer and mobile technology. Through this web conference, we have gained an insight of the use of analytical skills, design skills, pedagogical skills, technical skills, and social and communication skills, and how these skills are crucial in the ongoing teaching environment. So not only teachers, but service providers in libraries should also learn to use these skills. We all know very well, during the COVID-19 period, where people in other sectors were losing their jobs, our library professionals were busy in providing the pinpointed and exhaustive information to our users. So in the end, I would say the whole event was well organized and well managed. Once again, I am thankful to the whole team of 36th ITLIS conference for providing us such a wonderful platform of learning. With these words, I once again express my sincere regards to all of you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for the feedback. We will take these words and we'll try to be better next time as well. Anyone else would like to add something?
I want to say
Very
something.
welcome to sir.
Yeah,
Professor Juhu, he's already joined.
I want to say something.
Yes, sir.
I want to tell that this is the third seminar or webinar or conference where there is maximum attendance. I think now it is touching 100. I am time and again sending messages. Now it has gone 91. So it was Dharwad number 1, Patiala number 2, Chandigarh number 3. We are trying to make a century. I am sending messages time and again that it should touch a new high. And now I was having my penetrative insight to see who are who really understand the subject, and we are going to create a network of all these for the participants, so that from ground zero we get the evidence and input. I could see Director Implement Jurul Sahab, and without taking much of your time, I pass on the mic to you for the further proceedings.
Sir, thank you so much. Would you like to give any report or anything from your end other than this?
No, we will, when the formal it starts, then I will, when my turn comes, I will.
Sir, after the feedback, there is just one person, Mr. Gill, Malkeet Singh Gill. I think he's trying to speak. Would you like to add something, sir?
Yeah, I very good afternoon to one and all present here. I, Dr. Malkeet Singh, working as librarian at Government College. I am so grateful for sharing my experience about this conference. So many thanks for your the conference was very
So you're not audible. Could you please be a little louder or get to a place where the connection is a little better?
So I thoroughly enjoyed all the sessions. It was well organized. The presentation was so engaging and very useful. It was really a nice experience for me personally. Thank you so much.
Thank you. If there is not anyone else for giving the feedback, then we would like to proceed with the session. Anyone else who would like to add something? No, I don't see anyone raising any hands as such. There's just one feedback in this. The students are thankful for so knowledgeable guiding era of LIS. Thank you all teachers. It's in the chat box. I've just read it all. And thank you so much, sir. Excellently explained and so on. Rightly said, public libraries can play a great role in okay. So everyone can see the chat messages, whatever is going on. Moving on, I would now request Professor Jagtar Singh, Director, Collaborations and Partnerships, ITLIS, and former professor at the Department of Library and Information Science, Punjab University, to share a few words with all the participants, please.
So first of all, I want to welcome Professor Jurul and other dignitaries on the dais, and the report has been presented by Dr. Kalada already. I want, because my job assigned to me by the Indian Association of Teachers of Library and Information Science is to look after collaboration and partnership both at local, national, and international level. So I want to tell you to see, when we are discussing various issues in this webinar. Our focus, I was focusing on two things. One is Incheon Declaration, that is Agenda 2030. That was passed in the city of Incheon in South Korea. And that Agenda 2030 is by 2030 what we want to achieve. The Agenda 2030 says that it envisions a world free of poverty and hunger. So there should be no poverty and hunger, and there should be full productive employment for one and all. And then there should be access to quality education. We are among the 15% elite people who have got opportunity to get education. Still, there are so many people who want to have education, but they are not getting the opportunity. If you see outside, whether it's Oxford University, Harvard University, Cambridge University, private institutions are providing quality education. But in India, privatization has become a business. Where there was no paddy and wheat there, we are distributing certificates. Once I went there, I asked student, why you are not speaking? She was saying, sir, I am non-attendance student. What is that? That they said, you simply deposit the fee, no need to come, you come for examination and we will give you the degree. So this is the quality of education we are providing in the private sector. So Agenda 2030 focuses on access to quality education and then universal health coverage, because the biggest wealth of a country is health. So health is wealth. And then gender equality and women empowerment. So this is what this Agenda 20, and then we are to correlate it at national level. We are having this national policy on education, national education policy. And I deliberately telephoned Dr. D.V. saying that come on and sensitize the webinar participants about the policy, because all of us must need, policy must inform the practice. So there should be bottom-up approach as well as the top-down approach. Now next is UNESCO also has the Education for All program. Now Education for All program is focusing on three things. First is to develop high quality education, system and lifelong learning for all. So I also said in my presentation that we are moving from teaching to learning, from rote learning to resource-based, skill-centered or problem-centered learning. And the learning is a lifelong process. And now Mahatma Gandhi Institute in collaboration with UNESCO is focusing on social and emotional learning, because social and emotional, we are social beings. So the respect for difference of opinion should be there. So we should develop our soft skills and diplomatic skills. So UNESCO is focusing on number one. And then empowering learners to be creative and responsible citizens. So we have social media. So we should be creating the content, but in a responsible manner. So that is the second focus of UNESCO and Education for All program. And third is leading and coordinating the Education 2030 agenda through partnerships, monitoring and research. And I, according to my capacity, I'm trying to develop partnership horizontally and vertically for the ITLIS. I have developed partnership with UNESCO, partnership with IFLA, and at national level also, we are going to have partnership with the University of Hyderabad, because UNESCO has one more program, that is Information for All program. And Information for All program of UNESCO is focusing on 6 priority areas. First is information for development, because in the morning I was telling you the domains of data, knowledge, information. So information is to eliminate uncertainty and help in quality decision making. but the quality of decision will depend upon the quality of information available. So therefore, we should have the critical thinking skills and evaluation analytical skills. So first priority area is information for development. Second is information literacy, because lot of information is coming. We we don't want information. We want to train people in information literacy skills, because information is a fish. Once you provide the fish, the person will eat and will again hungry. If we teach him the art of fishing through information literacy, he himself can search relevant information. So that is why media and information literacy is becoming day by day more important. Similarly, third priority is information ethics. So, Malal, see, as Dr. Ramaiya was also saying, and Rachel Fisher was also saying a few 2 days back in our PLA webinar, that information, human values, information ethics, these should be the base. If the base is weak, if the seed is weak, then the plant will not grow, the plant will not yield. वो बोगनविलिया की फ्लावर की तरह होगा, उसमें रंग तो होंगे, खुशबू नहीं होगी. लेकिन if we want to become a rose, then our base should be very strong with human values and ethics and aesthetics. Aesthetics is the expression. Can we influence other people or convey our point without hurting the sentiments of other people? That is the diplomatic skill. Then information preservation. The two main functions of libraries are preservation of our documentary heritage and providing massive quality access in a affordable and real-time manner. So that is the fourth priority areas. First is information for development. Second is information literacy. Third is information ethics. Fourth is information preservation. And fifth is information access. So there is a paradigm shift from ownership to access. Previously, we were buying books and putting the ownership stamp. Now we are buying access to information. But there is a philosophical shift also. From the commercial sector, we are moving towards Creative Commons and open access. So that is a shift in our philosophy. And then now finally it is a multilingualism. Not all the literature is available in English language only. There are the local languages also, and we need to translate. We need to translate. The standard translation should be there. So these are the education for all program of UNESCO, information for all programs for UNESCO, Agenda 2030, and new education policy. And as far as information for all program is concerned, we have developed a partnership with the International Center for Information Ethics. Now we are going to have memorandum of understanding with University of Hyderabad Information Ethics Center. And similarly, in case of Education for All program, we are going to develop partnership with UNESCO's International Institute for Learning. And for this agenda, we are going to prepare a plan of action based on Agenda 2030 and the National Education Policy 2030. And the focus will be on the goal number 4.7, that is quality education for all. And then I want we should have critical thinking. When in the morning, someone was asking about what is the difference between education and this learning. Vidya. Education is from outside. So it is simply one-time intervention to realize the potential of the learner. But the education is top-down thing and learning is bottom-up thing. So knowledge, wisdom, and if your education is not connected with the practice, then it has nothing to offer. Only conceptual clarity will be there, but application will not be there. So if we want to have application, we should, that learning should come from that. That will come from the value system, and that will come from the practice, that will come from the experience. So all that is bottom up. So विद्या है वो आदमी के अंदर से आएगी, शिक्षा बाहर से अंदर जाएगी. That is the difference. And character and capacity should be the two twin towers of education system. Character, the character, we are not having much emphasis on building character of the students, means the future of future generation. So we are to make their value system very strong, ethics and aesthetic. Similarly, capacity building. In the morning, I also said that professional education is okay. This rhetoric education is okay, but for capacity, we should put more emphasis on this vocational education. तो यहाँ मैं दिया और सूर्य की मतलब एग्जांपल देना चाहता हूँ कि मतलब दिया है, जब मैं पैदा हुआ था दिया जला था, जब मैं यहाँ इस दुनिया से जाऊंगा वो दिया बुझ जाएगा, लेकिन मैं सूरज कब बनूंगा? अगर मैं कोई ऐसा काम कर जाता हूँ जो मेरे मरने के बाद भी रहेगा, तो दिए को तो बुझना ही है। और इसी तरह सूरज के पास रोशनी ही है, अंधेरा तो हमारे पास है। हमें लगता है रात पड़ गई, रात नहीं पड़ती है, सूरज पे तो रोशनी और हीट ही है, लेकिन हमें लगता है कि रात पड़ गई है। तो उस रात को मतलब अगर रात से बाहर आना है तो वी नीड एजुकेशन, वी नीड विद्या। तो वो सेल्फ, सोसाइटी एंड कॉस्मोस, कुदरत के साथ, सेल्फ के साथ, सोसाइटी के साथ कनेक्शन आपको एस्टेब्लिश करना होगा। तो हमें अपनी सोसाइटी में सीड, प्लांट और फ्रूट जैसा रिलेशनशिप रखना चाहिए। सीड अच्छा होगा तो प्लांट भी अच्छा होगा, और प्लांट अच्छा होगा तो फ्रूट भी अच्छा आएगा। सीड मीन्स अगर टीचर अच्छा है, पेरेंटिंग अच्छी है, parenting is good, schooling is good, teaching is good, then automatically plant is the student, capable student, and fruit is human development, sustainable development. So we have to focus on education, research, training, practice, experience, and imagination. We have to fire imagination of the students, and there the gap between the rhetoric and reality must be plugged. So then we should have these analytical skills, articulation skills are very poor of majority of the people. Today we are not in knowledge society or information society. We are in the attention society. If we are not able to manage attention of the other, then we are not going to get anything. So we have crossed that limit of information society and knowledge society. We are members of the attention society. So critical thinking, this analytical skill, articulation skill, independent learning. So the student should not depend upon the teacher all the time. We should have the independent skill, learning skill. For that, media and information literacy across frontiers is necessary. So then truth and the truth, the focus should be on truth, conduct contentment, reflection, or we should not take anything on the face value. So to be or not to be is the real issue. So we are to focus on these things. So I think we have when our webinar was taking rounds around these. So as far as the education of the villagers is coming, village is the base, and there our focus should be on health, on agriculture, on environmental production, on quality education, and on massive access to quality information and library. So as far as this collaboration and partnership is concerned, I have taken the Indian Library Association of Teachers of Library and Information Science to Cloud9, लेकिन हमारी जड़ें मतलब अपनी कम्युनिटी के साथ ही जुड़ी हुई हैं। हमने यूनेस्को इफ्ला के साथ काम किया है, हमने सभी के, लेकिन अपनी जड़ें नहीं छोड़ी हैं। हमने पहरावे से नहीं हुए कि पहरावा है, एजुकेशन मस्ट लिबरेट, लेकिन जो विद्या आपको लिबरेट कर दी है, मेरे को अनफॉर्चुनेटली एजुकेशन कोलोनाइजेस योर माइंड। वो आपको एजुकेशन है, जो आज की एजुकेशन है वो आपको प्रिजनर्स बना रही है, सर्टन उसके, लेकिन जो विद्या है वो आपको लिबरेट करेगी। वी शुड लिबरेट आवरसेल्व्स फ्रॉम अदरिंग एंड बाउंड्रीज, ऑल सॉर्ट्स ऑफ, there should be no discretion and discrimination, so nobody should be left behind. That is the motto of ITLIS, and that is the main line of action on which we are developing our partnerships and collaboration. Thank you very much for your time and attention. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you for your valuable input. Now, I would like to request Professor I.V. Malhan, President ITLIS and former Professor, Department of Library and Information Science, Central University of Himachal Pradesh, Dharamshala, to share his experience in the conference and give a few words of wisdom. Sir, please.
Honorable Chief Guest, Professor J.P. Singh, Joril, Professor B.R. Sinha, Dean Research, Professor Jagtar Singh, Professor Preeti Mahajan, Professor H.P.S. Kalra, and dear professional colleagues, good evening. This is for the first time we are organizing ITLS through video conference mode. ITLS did not spend even a single paisa, and our hosts also did not spend even a single paisa on this conference. And there are no hassles of airport check-ins, conference banners, conference kits, and still we very effectively shared the knowledge and to a large number of participants, and there were a good number of presentations also. And we outreached not only in India, but also other countries from where we received presentations, and colleagues from there also shared their knowledge and ideas. This is how we can convert the COVID-19 opportunity problems into opportunities. And this is how we can outreach our participants anywhere in the world and share knowledge. I think we should adapt these technologies and adopt them, assimilate them in our work culture, as if not fully, as a part of our culture, teaching learning culture. In between, somehow I got disconnected with the Google Meet, and when I tried to reconnect, it gave a message that you cannot reconnect because 100 is already reached. From there, I learned that there was good number of participants, and because the limit was only 100, so I think the other participants also wanted to connect but could not connect. And this is how the Punjab University also became one of the few universities where we received the largest number of participants in ITLS. And I congratulate Punjab University for receiving such a large number of participants even in the virtual mode. I keenly listened to some of the presentations, and some young teachers, they did very good presentations, very thought-provoking presentations. And these teachers are now to lead from the front, and I'm satisfied that they are doing good work. Now, almost all the areas of library information science, as I have seen the report of the General Secretary, and I also attended some of the sessions, they were covered. They may be related to curriculum, may be related to technology, delivery of education, knowledge management tools, innovations, everything was covered in the COVID situation. So all the recurring and current issues of library information science, they were reasonably covered at this conference. Feedback of which I just was listening, feedback of the participants, report of the secretary also says that it was a good learning experience for all the participants. This year, we did not make any presentations of awards because we decided in our team that it is always to give an award in person to the awardees, so not in the virtual mode. So we shifted it to next year. And this year was also election year of ITLS. I am satisfied that all our new team is unanimously elected without any election. They will pick up the threads from January 2021. And I am grateful to Punjab University. This is my own department. This is where I studied. I did my research and also taught for a couple of years, for nicely hosting this conference, particularly to Preeti Mahajan and all his team of faculty members and research scholars who contributed for nicely managing, coordinating this conference. And I am especially thankful to Professor Joril, my former colleague, who agreed at a very short notice to deliver his address at this conference. And thank you all. Now over to Neha Sethi.
Thank you, Professor Malan. Thank you for your kind words. Now, let me take this opportunity to welcome Professor J.P. Singh Jorel, Director in FlipNet. Though he needs no introduction, nevertheless, I will just tell in brief that Professor Jorel was working as Professor of Statistics in the University of Jammu and also holding the position of Director, UGC Human Resource Development Center. He has 33 plus experience in teaching as well as research. He has served at various positions in different universities like Jammu University, Dr. Y.S. Parmar University of Horticulture, Punjab University, Chandigarh, and UP government also. Professor Jural has supervised 24 PhD and MPhil students and has about 100 research papers published in referred and peer-reviewed journals of repute and presented at international as well as national level. He also has a research in a couple of books. Professor J.P. Singh Joral has contributed to higher education institutions and their management. He has served as a member of many associations like Indian Statistical Institute and as a part of Empowered Committee of UGC CARE, Implementation Core Committee of NIRF, and many more. Professor has vast exposure of working in national bodies dealing with academic and educational growth of the institutions of higher learning. He has also served as member of selection committees in various universities, PSSCs, and SSBs. Professor J.P. Singh Joral has also contributed substantially in the field of distance education by writing study material for both PG and UG level at Jammu University. He has been an inspiration to one and all. Now, I would take this opportunity to welcome him. If we had been present physically, we would have had a very loud round of applause. So, just for that, we'll just say verbally, welcome, Professor. Please, would you give your presidential address?
Thank you, Neha.
Sir?
Yeah, I am laudable.
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Yes, you're audible.
Dear Professor I.V. Malhan, President of the Indian Association of Teachers of Library and Information Science, Professor Sinha, Dean Research, Professor Preeti Mahajan from Department of Library Science, Dr. Kalla, General Secretary of the Association, Dr. Rupak Chakravarti, Dr. Khushpreet Singh Brar, the Vice President, Professor Jagtar Singh, Director Collaborations, all other faculty members, and I am seeing Nija Singh is also here. So Nija Singh, dear participants, a warm good evening to all of you. First of all, I am highly thankful to my friend and my senior colleague, Professor Malhan, who contacted yesterday for today's function. Although I am still recovering from the COVID, I battled for more than 45 days. So when we were talking about this today's function, and I also came to know about PU Chandigarh, so I immediately accepted the invitation. Because I have also served 1 year in Punjab Chandigarh in 88 to 89. So it is always dear to me. So my special thanks to Professor Malhan and his team of the association. I'm happy that in the COVID era, you are organizing this annual conference on LIS education, research and training, COVID era, impact, challenges and opportunities, that is jointly organized by the Department of LIS and your association. The theme of the conference is quite encouraging, and I think so. If you would have generalized this topic instead of focusing only on LIS, that is the on simply that is the education research training in COVID era, then it would have been much more, I think, the applicable. Although it is quite good that you are organizing this webinar for the LIS professionals, teachers, researchers. I'm happy that large number of the participants across India have been participating in the last 2 days in this conference. And if you see before the beginning of this COVID-19, that is before 3rd week of March 2020, nobody, including me, was even thinking to go for the online mode of education, in spite of the fact that our government was focusing and also pressing hard to go for the online mode of education, not only in the existing courses. You can go up to 20% of the courses by online mode by using the SWAYAM or MOOCs platform. But also, the government was not planning, you can say that already implemented the online mode of education in the distance mode. And also, last year, the government also allowed few universities on the basis of certain parameters to go for the offering of complete online degree or diploma or PG courses. And that is complete from your teaching, learning, assignments, and final end of the examinations. But this COVID-19 has caused immense disruption to the education sector. All of a sudden, universities were forced, colleges were forced, students were forced to sit down at home, and we all thought that it is a temporary phase, maybe for few weeks or maybe for few months, but we have no idea whether it will continue for long, say for a year, or it will be part of our life for many more years. So there was no other option to adopt the technology and adopt this online mode of education. I'm not discussing the scenario of the library science. I'm just discussing that is the problem faced by all the students community as well as the faculty members. Same. So in the beginning, it was the duty of the teachers that, and not also big problem, how to reach to our students, not for proper online teaching and learning, just how to reach, and second, how to deliver the text material in short span of time. But after spending this almost the first 3 months after June, almost 6 months, now we are familiar, we are using all the technological aspects for imparting online education, whether by providing the text or conducting the exams or assignments. So we are nowadays in much good position as compared to March or April 2020. And during this time, some universities adopted their own way of teaching by using simply some platform without having some uniform policy, whether by using, say, this Google Meet or Zoom or say Microsoft or any other platform. And few universities in the private sector, they hire or they purchase the teaching learning software for providing the online teaching, because they have no problem. But in the government sector, because all the universities are not at par because of the geographical locations and condition of the country, we have central universities, IIMs, IIT, so you can say CFTIs, state universities in the metropolitan cities, district headquarters, and some of the universities in the rural area where the problem of the power supply, internet, and you can say resources are there. So there is a huge heterogeneity among the universities, but in spite of the fact, the universities are using some teaching learning technology at this era. In the same direction, we also from here contributed, keeping with the problems faced by the faculty members and students of the teaching community, that the customized learning management software, Moodle, as per the needs of the institutions. And I'm happy that many of the universities are using this LMS, and also UGC has requested all the vice chancellors, they may avail this facility for the institutions. It is free of cost. So it is the customized learning management service being provided by the Infinite Center. It is free of cost to the institutions. And the basic feature and advantage of this service is that is, it has the pre-loaded courses which are already developed or available in the soft form, either by the MHRD or by the UGC or for any government institutions, purely as per the specific needs of that university. Second, it has the facility that in future teachers can upload their own material in all the form, whether it is the audio, whether it is video, whether it is text, or whatever form. Third, this had the feature of the two-way communication, that the students can interact with their teachers. Fourth, teacher can take online assignment or exam of his or her students by using this LMS. This is another feature. So nowadays, each and every university either focusing or planning or using some teaching learning software or service. And even after this COVID, I'm sure that this process will continue, because in the beginning, Professor Brar had discussed few points about the national education policy. Now we will have to follow the national education policy maybe by the beginning of 2021 or by 22. There is no other option. And the way the recommendations are there is no other option to follow this online mode of education. So we will have mixed offline, that is the formal your classroom teaching, and as well as this online mode. So we can say that there is a future of blended mode of teaching and learning. Now, whether we are imparting our regular students in a classroom mode, because there is no boundary in the selection of the courses, means during that time only we will have to satisfy the requirement of the students in terms of his or her choice of the courses, and that is not possible during that time. So we will have to go for the certain number of courses, maybe 30%, 40% of the online courses. And I think UGC has already notified that the students may go for up to 40% online courses, and their credits will be transferred to your regular this course. National education policy also advocates and recommended that whenever the student will move from one university to another university, or the students will take a break from the university or college for 1 year or 2 year or 3 year or even so 4 year, then again coming back, or the students going to industry either for the training or for job, again come back for the university, the credits will be transferred. Or even if a particular student or a student is completed some online course during in the service also, that will also be transferred to the university. So this online or blended mode of teaching will be there always, and there is no other scope, or there is no other scope to bypass this. Now, training part also there. Although in the last 6 months, they have already been trained, but even then we require many more things for training, and many agencies, even the universities are playing a good role imparting the training to the faculty members. You might have here, and the younger faculty, I think they already attended some courses. When you see in country, there are total 66 or somewhere 67 formerly academic staff colleges. Nowadays we call it human resource development centers of the UGC for imparting the trainings of the faculty members in the name either the orientation courses or say refresher courses or summer schools or short courses, even the training also. But I will share only few figures. All these 66 HRDCs are able to attract somewhere 26 or 27,000 faculty members in 1 year. Although the total number of faculty members in higher education as on date is somewhere around 14 lakh. So few years back, MHRD launched a scheme named as Pandit Madan Mohan Malviya National Mission on Teachers and Training. And that is the PMM entity. So MHRD launched one course that is known as ARPIT. Now, ARPIT is, I think, very much popular among the teachers. In the first batch of ARPIT last year, only in the one semester first batch, somewhere 56,000 teachers registered in that course. That is completely online. That is equivalent to refresher course. Now, as going on, that is in the second batch, that is more than 1 lakh faculty members registered in that course. That is again online. So nowadays is the era of the online education. Now, in the online education, many things have been discussed in the national education policy. It's the extensive use of technology, all type of resources to be shared. And one more thing that is mentioned, that it will be duty of the government and duty of the teachers to provide the whatever material is being provided to a national university in a metropolitan city. The same material is to be provided a university or a college which is established in far-flung areas of the country. So there is dire need of development of the course content, not on the library science, but in all the disciplines. Now, library science, I personally understand that can play a vital role, not only library science, but in all other subjects, in training imparting training to the faculty members, to the students, how to use the technology, what are the schemes of the government of India, how to create content as per the requirement of the required for that at the time of uploading on any platform. So many things are there. So in my opinion, the library science teachers and professionals can play a big role in imparting and training our faculty members. Now, there is a time when we used to say that we must train the younger faculty members, but now the concept of training the younger faculty members is old. Now it is duty to train all the faculty members of any age group, because without the use of technology, we cannot survive. Without taking much more time, I will not discuss. That is many things have been discussed. My friend, Professor Khushpreet Singh Brar, about the national education policy. I will say about national education policy on the only few lines that can be summarized. Only few lines, the whole national education policy recommendations. You see, from page first to last page, always you'll find in the national education policy, nation first, character must. Throughoutly. Other things You see, when we talk about the whole policy, we'll find talent is there, content is there, relevant is there, and patent is there. So the policy recommends we must generate the talent, and for talent we must require content. Content must be in best, and that content must be relevant. And we have the talent, we have the content, it is also relevant, but definitely we'll go for the patent. And further also, you see, in the whole education policy, we talk about our own moral values, social values, our traditional values, society. At the same time, we also talk that the international level, we also talk the impact, we also talk the cohesiveness, exclusiveness. So I summarize the whole education policy, that is the 5 I's is Indian, the totally Indianized, talk international, interactive, impactful, and last I, that is the inclusive. So all things are there. And now I stop here. My best wishes to the association, also to the department. And although I belong to statistics, but I have long association with library science and library science professionals. And my good friends are there in library science disciplines. Before joining this Influent Center, and I will feel happy if any of the university or institution or individual faculty member ask us for any facility or for any support or for any help, guidance. We are available here 24/7 for all type of facilities. Whatever facilities are available, we are trying our best for serving our stakeholders. One thing I would like to also share, because here all you are teachers, that is it's my personal opinion that I've also said I'm going to stop here, but I just recall new education policy also recommends it, the internship. Right? Now, in the university system, it's my personal opinion that I'm sharing first time here today, that our Department of Library Science are at a different identity, and university library is different. So in my opinion, I may be wrong also, it is the high time to think over it by the senior professionals of the library science, that merge these two in one, so that the students of the library science can be imparted training and internship during their course of whether it is Bachelor of Library Science or it is Master of Library Science. It is my personal opinion. So if you think it is good, you discuss on it in the various forums, it will be, in my opinion, for the betterment of the professionals as well as students. So thank you, Professor Malan, and all other his colleagues. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for giving us another eye, illuminating our minds by your insightful thoughts. This will go a long way with us. Now, I would like to take this opportunity to invite Professor Sinha, a renowned scholar who has many publications to his name, along with his contribution to lots of conference proceedings, as well as a couple of chapters to books. I would request Professor V.R. Sinha, Dean Research, Punjab University, Chandigarh, and Professor at University Institute of Pharmaceutical Sciences, Punjab University, to give his valedictory address. Professor Sinha, please.
Thank you. Dear Dr. J.P. Singh ji, Dr. I.V. Malhan, the President, Dr. H.P.S. Kalra, the Secretary of the organization, Professor Preeti Mahajan ji, Chairperson, Department of the Library Sciences, Professor Rupak Chakravarti and Professor Jagtar Singh ji, the dignitaries who have joined the conference, faculty colleagues, and the participants. It is a proud privilege that I have joined here and I have been invited here to give the valedictory function. On this occasion, I welcome you all, and I am humbled that you spared your valuable time for us and for our student. The situation is what we are going through is very challenging, we all know. As someone was saying, whether we are going to have the cure or we will have to live like this for long or for lifetime, still certain uncertainties are there. We have to evolve. We have to evolve to face this challenge. And certainly what I feel the role of library science is immense during this period. All the you can say all the persons, all the countries, they have suffered a lot during this situation. There are loss of life, there is economic loss, there are so many other aspects also, but the students also suffered a lot. Since March 24th, I think so, 22nd, I think so, the university is closed. And as you understand, this gives an immense psychological pressure into the mind of the students. We have seen a lot of rise in the domestic violence, lot of psychological disturbance, lot of depression report in news. And at this juncture, we have to be a confidence builder for our students that we will be providing the quality education from the distance also. I remember my student life. We used to sit in the library for consulting the journal, and you know that due to the paucity of the funds, it is not possible for any university library to subscribe all the journals. So we used to request send the reprint request, and it takes so many months, even some time, to get that particular literature. And if it was a patent or from a literature retrieval from a microfilm, then it was also a very costly affair. The situation at present is very good. The informations are on our fingertips. It is available on the internet. The libraries have strengthened their capabilities not only to house the hard copies of the book, but also they have provided the e-literatures also. Government has realized this particular potential, and they have, MHRD has already launched so many e-learning programs like Swayam Prabha, National Digital Library, e-Yantra, e-Gyan, Gyan Kosh, Gyan Darshan, Gyan Vani, e-PG Pathshala, e-Sodh Sindhu, Vidwan, Sakshat, to name a few. Many of us, our students, they might not be conversant with these things. But these forums, which have been initiatives, which have been launched by the MHRD, they are very, very informative. We, as we say, we have to evolve in the present situation. We have to continue the teaching and research both at the same time. We are facing challenges. We are facing challenges for taking the classes, although we are engaging the classes by a distant mode using various tools like the Meet, Google Meet, WebEx, etc. One of my teacher, a faculty colleague from mathematics department, he said, after taking the class, I feel very depressed because I cannot see the reaction of the student. I cannot see the face of the student. Only I deliver, and when I ask some question, they take some time to answer. And most of the time, only a few cluster of the students, they used to respond. It happened with me also that once I was taking the class, and when I started the presentation, the window was full with the presentation. I taught them, and when I asked after a few, you can say after 5 to 10 minutes that, is it okay? I did not get any response. What I realized, then I stopped my presentation, and then I realized that the internet was off and I was teaching to myself. So this type of challenges are there. Interaction with the student and and reading their face, whether they are understanding or not. It was a very crucial when we were one-to-one. Many students, they are very shy. They don't want to interact even though they know the answer. The teacher at that time, they built the confidence in them and extracted the best from them during the class. Now, these are the challenges we are facing. It is difficult for the student also, that if someone is self-motivated, yes, he will listen sincerely. If someone is not sincere or somewhat reluctant, then many times what is delivered from distant, whether they gather it or not, we are not sure. The second challenge which I faced, which university is facing, is with respect to the conduct of the examination and evaluation of the student. So many companies has come with their proposal, and every time we found some lacunas in them. Still, many things are going on with the, we are taking the decision in the favor of the student, but still many faculty feel that no, this is, we have to search for some other method of the examination. This is a challenge again. The third challenge which I am facing, we are at the university, not with the university, is with respect to the research students. Research students, especially those who require laboratory to work with. University has allowed the research students to work in the laboratory, but still it is not ready to give the, or rather we are facing difficulty in accommodating them in the hostel. All the facilities which are required for the unhindered research, it is not available. The movement from one institute to other institute is restricted. Getting the permission to use some facilities in other institute, again, it is a question mark. In one interaction, one research scholar from the first and second year, he said that we have to submit the synopsis and get our proposal approved. But how we can do without the library? Library is closed and we don't have the remote access for that. And these are the challenges what I am talking of. And we have to search for the solution of this. We have to search a solution by taking some responsibilities at the same time. Many times we backtrack. We have another problem with the practical courses, how to conduct the practicals from the remote places. Although the MHRD, they have some virtual experimentations loaded on their website, but many times we don't get the actual experimentation either on the YouTube or on any other website. One literature I was reading, there one scientist suggested that we should design the experiments which a student can perform at their home by using some of the facility present in the their residence itself. But where a sophisticated instruments are required, it will be very, very difficult. So at this time of test, certainly the friends from the library sciences, they can be our savior. They can provide the informations, they can provide the platform to improve the teaching and learning. And it is a challenge for them also to how to answer the questions which I raised just before. Certainly, I was briefed by Professor Rupak that this conference was for the 2 days and many illustrated dignitaries participated and deliberated in the conference. Many students have joined this one, and that gave me the most, you can say, most satisfying words that the students have joined, because the established scientists, they have to train the future generation, and if a student is there, certainly this is a good sign of a good conference. With these words, Rupak ji, Professor Preeti Mahajan ji, and all the faculty member of the library sciences, I congratulate for your initiation and for execution of the conference in such a wonderful manner. Once again, I just say my, you can say, मैं हिंदी में बोल सकता हूँ, मैं अपना आभार व्यक्त करता हूं सभी डिग्निटरीज के लिए जो हमारे इस यूनिवर्सिटी में आकर के अपनी विद्वता का कुछ अंश हमें प्रदान किया। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
Shukriya, sir. Thank you so much. I totally agree. We don't grow when things are easy. We grow when we face challenges. So let us take all types of challenges as an opportunity to find innovative ideas. Now, I would like to invite Professor Rupak Chakravarti, Professor, Department of Library and Information Science, Punjab University, Chandigarh, for a vote of thanks to all the dignitaries and participants. Professor Chakravarti, please.
Thank you, Neha. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you're audible.
Thank you, Neha.
Thank you, sir.
A warm and graceful evening to the august gathering present here. Dear participants, as we arrive at the culmination of 2 days fruitful, enriching and exciting deliberations, I take this opportunity to express gratitude to all of those who have made 36th National Conference of ITLIS on LIS education, research and training in COVID-19 era impact, challenges and opportunities, a resounding success in true sense. I feel honored and privileged to get this opportunity to propose a vote of thanks and acknowledge the contributions of those who worked really hard to make this virtual event possible. I, on behalf of the Department of Library Information Science and ITLIS, would like to acknowledge gratitude to Professor Rajkumar, Honorable Vice Chancellor, Punjab University, as the patron of the conference and motivating us to engage ourselves in academic discourses facilitated by meaningful collaborations. On behalf of the department and Punjab University, I would like to express deep sense of gratitude to Professor I.V. Malhan, President ITLIS, Professor Jagtar Singh, Director Collaborations and Partnerships ITLIS, Dr. H.P.S. Kalra, General Secretary ITLIS, all other office bearers of ITLIS for facilitating the brainstorming sessions, exchange of thought-provoking ideas, and academic discourses on issues pertaining to LIS education in particular and higher education at large. I would like to thank keynote speaker Professor Bhaskar Mukherjee, DLIS, BHU, guest of honor Dr. D.V. Singh, former University Librarian, University of Delhi, Department and ITLIS joins hand in thanking Professor B.K. Katholia, Chairperson Haryana State Higher Education Council, for acceding to our request in spite of his busy schedule and delivering the enlightening presidential address. InfluNet is doing a pioneering and unmatchable service, and not only the LIS profession, but the Indian higher education sector speaks highly of it. I convey my regards and extend a really hearty vote of thanks to our chief guest today, Dr. J.P. Singh Jurail, Director InfluNet, who spared time from his busiest schedule to grace the occasion and blessed us with his presence. We are extremely grateful to have you, sir, here and motivating us with your inspirational and highly informative talk. Your thoughts have enlightened our minds. I thank you, sir, for sharing your valuable time with us. Punjab University is excelling in the domain of research, and why not when our Dean Research, Professor V.R. Sinha from the University Institute of Pharmaceutical Sciences, features among the world ranking of top 2% Indian scientists by the Stanford University. I am short of words for expressing my thanks to Professor Sinha. Sir was kind enough to deliver the valedictory address in spite of the fact that he is heavily occupied in Chandigarh Science Congress nowadays. Thank you, sir. Last but not the least, I, on behalf of the department and ITLIS, also wish to express my gratitude to all the presenters and speakers of the respective technical sessions. Words are not enough to mention the role played by dignitaries who chaired the technical sessions. Thanks are due to all the students, research scholars, university authorities, and all who played a catalytic role in making this event a grand success. Thank you so very much for your presence for the 2 days and participating in the encouraging discussions. I would also like to thank my dear colleagues, Dr. Shiv Kumar, Dr. Khushpreet, and our chairperson, Professor Preeti Mahajan, for leading us to actually organize this event very meticulously and making it a grand success at the very end. Thank you, one and all. Thank you so very much. Thank you.